Hello, hello, and hello. Welcome back to the Small Biz Better Summit. We are so happy to have you guys here joining us. We know there's a lot of uncertainty going on in the world right now, and we are so grateful that you're spending your time here with us. And we are really devoted to bringing you more knowledge, more empowerment, and more things that can help you empower you, not only in your business, but also in your life. And you've seen all the great, wonderful speakers that we've had so far, and we're going to continue in the same fashion with this amazing speaker, with this amazing man here, right here now with us, Mr. JP. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very good, Marcus. Thanks for having me, man. We've been trying to get this going for a while, so I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be sharing the space with you. Sharing to your audience. Yeah, looking forward to it very much.
Awesome sauce, man. We're just so happy to have you. JP is joining us all the way from overseas, all the way from, I say the UK, but it's not really the UK. Where is it? Is it the UK?
It is the UK. It is the UK.
Oh, okay. My geography is not my strong suit. Marketing, business, yes. Geography, no. So JP's...
Hey, dude, I'd rather be good at marketing than geography.
I'll receive that. I will sure receive that. So JP is going to be joining us for this session, and I've had the opportunity of serving alongside this brother, really working alongside him with marketing and sales, and we really vibe with our core beliefs on connecting humanity and how you have to put the mindset back into marketing and sales, how you have to put intentionality, connection, authenticity back in marketing and sales. And so I'm super excited for this conversation. JP is going to be talking to us a little bit about how to be thinking when you are selling, the mindset when you are selling. So really so happy to be joining us. JP comes to us with years, not only years, but decades of experience, not only in selling, but owning his own business as a coach, as a life coach, and other empowering events, a speaker, an international speaker, raising millions of dollars in his own business and helping other businesses raise funds as well. So JP comes to us with a lot of expertise, a lot of great value to add. So grateful to have you here with us, my good man.
Thank you so much for having me. And what an awesome introduction, man. Yeah, I've been very blessed to do this for a long time, dude. I had a job once for a few months, and I realized when they offered me from a temporary contract to a permanent job, I realized that I'd sold them very well. I'd sold myself very well. And when I realized I could sell, I just decided that I wanted to have my own business. And that was about 2 decades ago. So yeah. Yeah, I know about selling, but I know about serving more than I do selling. So really what I want to talk about is how to serve through selling and how to sell through serving. And really it's all about one thing, and it's about connection / relationships.
I love that. And I want to build on that because we've talked so much about mindset, our mindset connection, and about the service and the authenticity in selling. And so a lot of people, one thing that we see, a lot of people are kind of resistant and hesitant when they're talking about sales. And a lot of times it's because they were approached by someone or several people who did not have that authenticity, that genuine connection and intention of helping serve people through selling. And now selling has a bad rep. And for good reason, because a lot of people have abused selling. But part of JP's and I mutual goal and journey in life is to help bring authentic selling back into the marketplace. So I'm so glad you shared that. So glad you started with that. And so tell us a little bit about how should we start to have the proper mindset and the proper thinking when we are serving in our selling.
So first of all, I wasn't actually planning on sharing this, but you've just kind of opened up the gateway for me. It just made me start to feel this. So first of all, everyone here, including myself and you, we always have to remember that there are plenty different ways to sell. You can hard sell, you can soft sell, you can sell without selling, you can do drop price selling, you can do, selling the big thing and then discounting it massively. There's so many different ways. And one thing I would definitely recommend, something that has really worked for me, And by the way, everything that I'm going to share is either an opinion, it's not a fact, so don't get offended by anything that I say, it's just my opinion. But also everything that I share in this conversation, but also in my business, is something that at some point has worked for me. So the first thing I really like to share is you've got to find how selling will work for you. Because look, another thing I've been into my whole life is fitness. And Marcus, you and I, and probably everyone here knows that fitness is fitness. But if you don't enjoy doing it, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas, if someone's trying to run every day, but actually what they want to do is jump on a trampoline every morning before they start their day, it's a completely different thing. The outcome is the same, being fit. Or in selling, the outcome is the same, getting the deal or getting the sale. But there's plenty of different vehicles in which you can go by getting that desired outcome. Like I've done a lot of speaking over the years. And the most natural thing for people to gravitate towards if they watch other speakers is, I'm going to give you this price and it's worth this amount of money and it's $20 million of value. But if you sign up now, and I give you this bonus, and I give you that bonus, and I give you this bonus, and you go to the back of the room right now, it's like that works for some people. I get it. Respectfully, I know that works for some people, but it doesn't work for all people. And selling is beautiful because when you sell, you're inviting someone into your world or you're giving them access into a better world for them or their family or their business, whatever it is that you're selling. So you shouldn't feel bad about it. But if you're selling in a way that you don't enjoy, it doesn't resonate with you, it doesn't connect with you at a heart level, you will try to avoid it at every single possibility you get. So for me personally, I've found my way, and it's to build relationships, connect, and invite. That's it. I don't do hard selling anywhere. Not even to my own clients and students that are already pre-sold.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I'll share. There's a lot that I can share and I will share, but the first thing I really want to share is that you've got to find your selling, like you've got to find your fitness, like you've got to find your people. You can't just grab people. Oh, people are important to have. Okay, I'll grab 6 random people.
Right.
Or, fitness is important. Okay, let me swim every day. No, you've got to find what works for you. So that actually when you get out of bed in the morning, you can't wait to sell. You can't wait to serve. You can't wait to invite. And you can't wait to give people access.
Yeah. I love that. And can you repeat the 3-step process you said there? The inviting, the connect, invite, share?
So I would say it's connect, build relationships, and invite. That's what I do. So wherever I go, I'm all over social media. I'm just connecting with people. And then with those connections that you make, some people are going to go away. Some people are going to, they're going to hang out with you for a little bit, right? Because they're not in the buying cycle just yet. There's 4 steps in the buying cycle. Like first they want to know you. Right. Then they want to decide by hanging out with you and having a relationship with you, hey, do I like Marcus? Do I like JP? I'm not so sure. Do I like Lisa?
Yeah.
Then once they decide they like you, then they'll look at what you have to provide in that relationship. And if it's a fair exchange of value in that relationship, as a consumer and a service provider or an influencer or whatever, a speaker or a coach, then at some point they'll decide whether they trust you or not. And when they decide they trust you, then they'll buy from you.
Yeah.
And for me, what works really well when it comes to building trust is saying, look, I just want to either invite you into my world. I'm not the person standing on top of a mountain saying, look at me, my life's perfect. If you pay me money, I'll show you how to climb your own mountain. Yeah. I'm the person climbing the mountain. And whilst I get you to know me and like me, I'm sharing everything that I have to offer, but also everything that I've learned in my own life. I'm fully transparent, fully authentic, which is where you and I really hit home with each other and connected. And by sharing all of me, I then say, look, do you want to come on this journey with me? And you don't have to run the ultra marathons like I have. You don't have to go through the pain and suffering that I have. And I had my shins broken from Muay Thai and Thai boxing and having learned what I've learned in martial arts and combat. You don't have to have read 327 books. You don't have to spend $350,000 in education over 15 years. You don't have to do those things because I've done it for you. So if you want to learn from all of the things that I've done and what I've become, then come with me. But if you don't want to, go find someone else, because you've got to find someone. As Lisa would say, you've got to hook yourself to someone's caboose, right? So
yes.
so for me, I would say, if you look at percentage-wise, I would say connection, relationships, and invite. I would say for me, my life and how I run my business is 40% connecting. So that's new people.
Yeah.
It's 40% relationships with my people. And then it's 20, or not even 20, it's 10% invite. But some businesses are very different. Let me be very clear on that.
Yeah.
Some businesses are 50% creation and connection and 50% sales and delivery. But those companies, they've found what works for them. Some people, it's split 3 ways: marketing, customer relationships, and selling. I don't believe, Marcus, maybe you disagree, but I don't believe there's a right and a wrong way. There's a right way for you and a wrong way for you.
Absolutely. That's one of our bedrock principles at Social Marquee, our digital marketing agency, is that it's all a recipe, and everybody's recipe is different. Everybody's recipe is the recipe that works for them. You can try and do like me. I tried to copy my mom's fried chicken recipe, and I said, I tried to make it. It didn't come out the way Mom did it. So I went back to Mom. I said, Mom, did you give me everything in your recipe? She was like, yeah. Tried it again. Didn't come out like Mom. But then I got smart. I said, I'm going to sit right next to Mom and do everything she's doing as she's making her fried chicken, and then going to put it in the same oil and everything. And did it finally come out like Mom's? No, it still didn't. It was, and she knew, even when I was doing it, she was just shaking her head like she knew what was going to happen. But it's, at the very least, it's 2 different people making it. At the very least, even though I might have did 5 stirs when she did 5 stirs, the strength at which I stirred and the strength at which she stirred, all that stuff matters. That's cool. So, yeah, it's all about the recipe. I love that, man.
Yeah, that is gold. And I love that it's the person doing the stirring.
Yeah. It sounds crazy, but we see a lot of people, they'll try and do this kind of copycat marketing when they'll see people that are marketing or sales, just like you were saying. They'll see people that have done the success, and so they try to mimic it, but they don't know the recipe. They don't know all that went on before what they see. They're just trying to mimic what they see, and it usually never, ever works. And so I love that. Yeah, it's what's right for you, finding your recipe. And most people don't want to put the time into finding their recipe. Most people want the quick results, and they don't happen usually.
Exactly, man. You can't go to a seminar and say, okay, this has worked for one person, so let me just do it. No, you've got to find out every little bit, every vehicle, every recipe that you can, and then decide which one works best for you.
Absolutely. I love that, man. I told you guys you were in for a treat.
Yeah, the thing is, you've got to love it, right? If the highest power in the world is love, and the highest act of love is to serve and to give and to contribute, then what is serving? Serving is love. Serving is not giving, is it not? Serving is giving, is it not? Serving is contributing, is it not? Or selling? Of course it is. So if you're not loving, serving, giving, contributing, selling, then you have to look at the way you're doing it, not the what you're doing.
Oh, I like that.
Jesus Christ was selling. God was selling. Prophet Muhammad, Buddha, they're all selling. We're all selling something.
Right.
But if the relationship that we have with the way we serve isn't healthy, then we're not going to want to serve. Never mind sell.
So true. I love that. And so many people, I think we talk about this in some of the summit sessions, talking about the iceberg of business, the iceberg of marketing, and also the iceberg of selling. Everybody sees the price tag with selling. Everybody sees the logo or website with marketing. Everybody sees the business success with business, but you don't see the 95% of the iceberg underneath the surface that holds up that 5%. Same thing with selling. You know, the intentionality. And I love how you opened it up with, if you don't have the right intention and you're out there trying to sell, you're going to resist the selling. You're going to resist I love how, and I want everybody to see how this is a sales conversation or a mindset conversation. And look how much time we're spending on everything except sales, because this is the stuff that makes sales successful.
It's under the water stuff.
I love that.
Look at the coronavirus right now. It's proof that people run from fear. We run towards love. Every human being runs towards love. Runs towards love, but we run away from fear. So if you have fear attached to selling on a subconscious, under the iceberg or under the water level, not without thinking, you don't have to think about it consciously.
Right.
Stuff going on underneath your own thinking is going to make you want to run away from it, because you have fear around it. So you really got to love it. And, another way, since we're on loving sales, another way to really get you to love sales is, one, you've got to understand what your highest values are. And you've got to sell to your values. So if my highest value is freedom, I've got to have in my subconscious, under the water, on the bottom end of the iceberg, in my programming, I've got to have at least 100 to 150, ideally 200 different benefits and evidences of how selling will give me my highest value and freedom. Because if I don't, I won't want to do it. In my own coaching or in sales as well, what I do is I use this story of being in a courtroom, right? In a courtroom, you have the judge in the middle. Now, this is a metaphor for our life. We are the judge. And then if you go back into the courtroom, a decision is to be made. And either the decision is going to be here or the decision is going to be here. Now, this can be with every single decision that you make in your life. So let's use selling. You have two decisions to make. I hate selling. I love selling. Now I'm the judge. Now, if we go back into the courtroom and there's two decisions to be made, but only one can be made, what is the decision made on? And the only thing that it's made on in court, how much what there is.
Evidence, yeah.
Evidence.
Yeah.
So if you go into a courtroom and there's 50% evidence here, selling is good or bad. There's 50% evidence here, selling is good. You're not really going to believe that selling is good. But if you can create 50 pieces of evidence that says selling is bad or something to be feared, and you've got here 200 pieces of evidence, 200 versus 50, what do you call that in a courtroom? It's not a belief anymore. It now becomes a conviction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Conviction is a belief without any reasonable doubt whatsoever.
I love that.
How do we grow to love something more or do something more or stop procrastinating on something? It's not easy, but it's simple. Create as much evidence as possible. And rather than creating random bits of evidence, what I would say, and what has worked for me and my clients for so many years, is look at the things that you most value. Is it family? Is it love? Is it connection? Is it freedom? Is it travel? Is it success? Whatever your personal highest rules for life are, tie sales into that thing or into those things. Now imagine this. Imagine, your 5 highest values are fitness, freedom, family, contribution, and compassion. And those are mine. Now, those are your 5 highest values. Imagine this. You find 200 pieces of evidence that selling will honor and nurture your fitness value. 200 pieces of evidence that selling and serving honors your value of freedom or fitness. 200 pieces of evidence that it will honor and nurture family. 200 pieces of evidence, that you get where I'm going here, right? Now you've got 1,000 pieces of evidence tied to the things that you most adore. And to go and get those things, what do you have to do? You just have to put your shoes on, metaphorically speaking, and go sell.
I love that. I love that metaphor, man. That's really powerful. I love it. It's powerful and it's simple as well. And it's one of those things oftentimes it's so simple that we'll neglect to do it, or we'll say, or we'll dismiss it because it's so simple. But I love the simplicity of that. And I love the power in that, because you're right. Go to court, 200 pieces of evidence versus 50. And that's what a lot of us have. We know we need to sell in our business as an entrepreneur, and subconsciously we might be self-sabotaging ourselves from the selling or from the marketing or from the action items that we need to do in order to achieve whatever goal it is. Hashtag, can somebody say New Year's resolutions? So I love it, but we've been doing it like it's an equal playing field, and it's not, right? We need to have overwhelmingly more evidence and I love that. Do you have some tips on how you can build some of that evidence and catalog some of that evidence?
So I would say just look at every single value that you have, or look at, in coaching, there's a thing called the wheel of life.
Okay.
I have a thing called the self-mastery wheel, where you look at 8 to 10 to 12 different areas of your life. And if these are all the important areas of life, it's how would selling or serving or making money or bringing in raw revenue, whatever language works best for you in your world, tie it to that area of your life. So let's just say it like it is, selling. How would selling more improve my personal growth? How would selling more improve my relationships? How would selling more improve my spirituality? How would selling more improve my business? How would selling more improve my wealth? Now I've only got to 4 parts of the wheel, right? Imagine if you did this for all 12 areas of your life: happiness, fitness, environment, social, your overall happiness, etc. Like your spiritual growth or your friendships. You can just keep creating more evidence, more evidence, more evidence. But I'll tell you this. I've had people that have never enjoyed selling their whole life. Now, I'm not a sales coach. I'm not a business coach. I'm a high performance coach. I help people get out of their own way so they can bridge the gap from where they are to where they want to be. And that has to do with mindset. Yeah. It's just a coincidence that mindset is where you start with selling.
Yeah.
So I end up helping people with sales. But I've had people that don't enjoy selling to making more sales than they've ever made because they've changed their association to what sales means, because they now have evidence stacking up with all the other things that they want in their life and how selling will give them those things.
I love that.
I love that. We're always selling. You can't hate selling. You're doing it every day. And if you're not selling, you're being sold to.
Oh, I like that. Think about that. If you're not selling, you're being sold to.
Always. Every month.
That's a mind shift.
Yeah.
That is a huge mind shift, actually. Wow. And something that...
Oopsie. I've lost you. And you're back in the room.
And am I? Okay. Technology, gotta love it. All right, so I used to have this horrible connection with sales and my mindset around sales and resistance to sales, often because of the way I was sold to, and because I could, you can feel the energy of people trying to sell you. If the selling is bad intention, or if they don't believe in their product, or if they're just trying to push something on you so that they can pay their own bills, right? So that energy, you can feel that energy, and it's real. Yeah. And I remember back when I had that kind of warped view of sales, something like this would have been so helpful for me. Thankfully, I got assistance from coaches, and you've mentioned Lisa several times. For those of you who don't know, we're both part of Lisa Nichols' tribe, and Lisa's really helped teach us so much. I've been with her now for 5 years, and hopefully we'll have her on one of these summits very, very soon. And just the mindset shifts that she has taught us, that JP sharing with us now, are really some of the things that help overcome some of the societal programming that we have around sales, around what business really is, around what marketing really is, right? So all of these are just important in that mindset shift in order for you to small biz better, in order for you to do better in your business. So I'm so glad you mentioned that. So glad you mentioned that.
Oh, you're welcome, man. So yeah, just to come back to that, some people didn't really understand what I meant. There's an echo, but I said if you're not selling, you're being sold to. Part of what I mean there is, a lot of us have a tendency to look at people and go, oh no, they're selling to me, and you feel, oh, you don't like it, whatever. But that's because you don't know selling. There's a lot of us also that when we get to a stage when we actually believe we can sell, when we get sold to, we just appreciate it for what it is, because we're not being sold to. We see it for what it is. You know what I'm talking about, Marcus. When now that you know how to sell, you have a sales and marketing business. Maybe before one day you might have gone, oh man, this person's selling to me and I don't know how to say no, or they're putting pressure on me. But after a while, as you become more aware of how it works, you don't allow yourself to be sold to all the time because you understand selling. So what I will do, and over the last years of my life, I'll see someone selling me something and I'll let them finish respectfully. And I'll just say, you've lost sound, Marcus. Are you there?
No, I muted myself so we wouldn't have the echo.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so you will, you'll see this person selling, or he and she is just deep in their pitch. And afterwards, now I've got to a point in my life where I'll say, look, I'm not going to buy, but damn, that was a good pitch. Oh, I loved hearing that. It was brilliant. Or I will say to someone, if someone tries to sell to me on an email or they're in a message or they're trying to contact me in any way, I will give them direct feedback. Sometimes I ask permission, but if they're selling to me without permission, then I don't wait for permission to give them feedback. I just give them feedback and I'll just say, terrible pitch. What you've done is you've treated me as a transaction. If you had started with trying to treat me as a relationship and hopefully lead to a transaction, this could have gone differently. If you want, I can give you some tips and But
I love that.
Yeah, when you're conscious of sales and you have a healthy relationship to sales, you can deal with, if sales is over here, right? And this is you have a healthy relationship with sales. If you have a healthy relationship with sales itself, you'll also have a healthier relationship with people that are selling, because they're all just doing the same thing, sales. But if you have a bad relationship with sales, anyone that tries to sell to you, you'll want to avoid, or you'll feel uncomfortable because it's the same thing. It's just that sale or selling is just showing up in a different vehicle.
That's huge, man. If you have a good relationship with sales, you'll also have a good relationship with people who are selling. Yeah. And if you have a bad relationship with sales, you'll naturally repel people who are. So that is a huge, it's so simple, but it's one of those things that I personally have overlooked. Wow. It is very profound.
I'm not an expert in sales. I'm an expert in communication, in mindset, and also in language. Now, that resonates with you, because if you have a bad relationship with sales and you have a bad relationship with people that are selling, of course, who's selling every day? You. So if you have a bad relationship with sales and you don't like people that are selling, that means you don't like you when you're selling.
Please say that again.
If you don't have a good relationship, a healthy relationship with the topic of sales, anyone that's in that topic or that subject, you won't have a healthy relationship with them in that moment, because the topic or the subject you don't feel comfortable with. So if you're now in this bad, unhealthy relationship with sales, and you don't like people that are selling, that means that when you're selling, you don't like yourself. And then what do you say? What do we say? If we don't like that relationship with ourselves, we don't like it in others, we don't like sales itself, what do we say? I'm just not a...
That is good. And to make that connection, one, that's genius. So I love your modesty, but dude, you are super modest, because this is pure genius. And especially bring it back around. If you don't, wow. This is all, everyone, I want you to see, this is on a subconscious level. Of course, you're not consciously saying, but on the subconscious level, you're absolutely right. Oh, wow.
And of course, if you don't like, in the NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, it's a known thing, studying human behavior for many years, that if you don't like someone in something else, it's because you own it yourself. When you live in a non-biased, non-judgmental world, you live in a world of I'm okay, you're okay, we're okay. But when you don't like something in someone else, it's because you recognize it's somewhere in you who you used to be or who you don't want to be. So if you don't like sales or selling or being sold to, and you have a judgment on that, it's because somewhere at some level you judge yourself at that level. When you really don't care about selling, I promise you, you'll never care. Let me say this slowly. When you don't care about selling, you'll never care about being sold to.
That is pure. I'm having so many breakthroughs on this conversation with you right now, man, because this is really, really profound. Say that one more time, just so, and I want everybody to pay attention.
I think the echo is gone, by the way. You can keep it on now. You can keep it on. The sound's up. Oh, no, it's still there. Okay, so I just forgot what I said now. I was so focused on the...
Focus on the echo. All right.
Listen, there's no echo now.
Oh, there's no echo?
Yeah, it's gone. So what did you want me to repeat exactly?
The last statement, when you said when you are completely okay with sales, you're no longer...
Yeah. So when you have no emotional, I'll say it better, when you have no emotional reaction to selling, you'll have no emotional reaction to being sold to. One of my favorite sayings is, it just is what it is. Yeah. Being sold to, it just is what it is. But selling, it just is what it is. Don't make it bigger than it is.
I love that. I love that.
If anything, don't make it bigger than it is. Make it better than it is by stacking up evidence. Don't make sales bigger than it is. Make it better than it is. And how you do that is one way and one way alone. Stack up the evidence of why sales is freaking awesome.
I love that mindset shift, man. I'm having some real breakthroughs right here on the other side of the screen right now. Like, that is really, and I love it because it challenges even progress that I thought I made. Well, I still made that progress. It just shows additional progress that I desire to make in some of these same topics, So I love that. When you have no emotional attachment to sales, you won't care about being sold to, no matter. And I think what was key for me was no matter how they're doing it, So I would have just, now that I know how to sell and how to sell better, I would often have that kind of judgmental spirit on people like, why are you selling that? Or why are you selling like that? And now I'm seeing it. I'm seeing how even that still has an emotional attachment to the core that you were talking about before, something that I want to improve on. So I love that.
Yeah, we just got to be really conscious that if we're judging, even not in a critical way, but if we're judging others for selling, meaning, oh, why are you doing that? You could do it better or whatever. If there's an emotional response or an emotional attachment to that judgment, you've got to remember that if you don't believe that you're selling correctly, you're judging yourself. If you're judging others, there's no way that you're not judging yourself. No way. Because what you do to others is what you do to yourself.
Absolutely. I love that, man. That is a pivotal mind shift.
Glad you love it.
Like I said, everyone, I have some real breakthroughs right here on the other side of the screen right now. That is tremendous, man. What are some tools? So for someone like me or for the people listening, how can we identify it? How can we reprogram it, reframe it? What are some suggestions you'd give people?
So how can you reframe what? Selling?
Well, reframe your mindset around the selling after you've collected the evidence and after you've at least become aware of, hey, maybe I'm sitting in some judgment right now.
Okay.
How can you?
Okay. So first thing I would say is when you're selling something, a service or a product, or you're selling your time, but you don't really know enough about the person, then what you believe deep down is that you're selling for you and you're not selling for them. Take that in. If you don't really understand the person you're selling to and how this will benefit their life, then everyone knows deep down that they're just selling for themselves. And that will not make you want to do it more. What will make you want to sell more is if you know with absolutely no doubt, with unshakable, unbreakable certainty, that this sale benefits that person. And how to know that is to understand people's values. Sell to people's values. Like I said, you'll want to sell more if selling honors and nurtures your values. You got that right?
Mm-hmm.
People will want to buy more if it honors and nurtures their values.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to sell to their highest value. You know, if you are selling, I've been in coaching for a long time. As soon as I hear that a director of a bank wants to work with me and he mentions his family more than anything else, I'm only selling the benefits of coaching to the benefit of his family. But if he talks a lot about his peers and traveling, and he spends most of his conversation with me, or she spends most of her conversation with me talking about how they close deals all the time and how they have a busy life and they're tired, I know that they value energy, they value rest, they value certainty. So that's what I'm selling to. I'm not selling to fitness. I'm not selling to their family. If you just care about certainty, you want more certainty, more certainty, more certainty. And I say, wow, coaching is really going to change your relationships. They'll be like, nah, not for me. But if I said this will make you working with a coach, working with someone that's in the pavilion of the arena of your life, giving you a different perspective, giving you live feedback as you go left and right and forward and backwards in your day and life so that you can keep making better moves. Over time, those moves will increase your certainty to a point that you will just feel limitless. And remembering that the most certain person in a room always influences the others, doesn't matter what room you go into. Now I'm speaking this person's language based on their highest values. Whereas if I'm just feeling mid-30s, late 30s, early 40s for me now, I'm like getting more real as I'm saying that, not mid-30s, not late 30s, early 40s. Like if I'm starting to feel that I'm getting a bit of a dad bod, or I'm getting a bit lethargic, and I'm starting to question every day, do I have less energy? Am I getting old? Is it not that I'm stressed? I'm just literally getting older and therefore I'm lacking energy. Now, if I sell this person as a coach, that I've been in the energy management game for 20 years, and what I do is I help people optimize and maximize the energy that they all already have locked inside their body. They just don't know how to access it. He's going to buy that. If he wants energy, and I talk about family, or if I talk about certainty, but he's like, no, I have loads of certainty. I just don't have energy to carry my certainty. So can you see it's three different people, but the sales conversation is completely different. So that's the first thing I would say, speak to people's values. Secondly, I think I said this before, I think it was with you, yeah.
He
Relationships
does
over,
this a lot.
yeah, relationships over transactions.
Mm.
Never ever treat a sales conversation as a transaction. The transaction is the signing of the dotted line. It's the sending of the contract. It's not even at the handshake or the hug. You've still got to think of that as a relationship.
Yeah.
For example, I had a client once 4 or 5 years ago, and I built a relationship with this person, and I never ever thought of it as a transaction. And for 2 months, I had a relationship with this person, from a meeting in their office to having a social conversation to chatting over WhatsApp, a text message, an email. On the day they were meant to do a year of high-level one-to-one coaching with me, which is equivalent to about $30,000. That day, they had to email me and say, emergency has come up. I cannot commit to this now, which is understandable because I make it very clear to my clients that they have to be all in if they're going to work with me. Otherwise, it's bad for my business. But because I never treated it as a transaction, I treated it as a relationship. The transaction didn't go through, but the relationship was there and it was strong. And 4 years later, I signed that client up.
Mm.
And I didn't try and sell anything to him. Whilst I was selling in the first 2 months of meeting this person, I was building the relationship, but I sold the coaching, right? But I didn't treat it as a transaction. So then when the transaction didn't go through, the relationship still remained. So because this person knew what I had to offer, 4 years later, he said, I'm ready now. So that's what I would say. Something else when it comes to how to think when you're selling, I know probably everyone here should know this anyway. I know probably most of you here know this. Never ever speak to the process, always speak to the result.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very simple. My spin on it is, as a service provider, as a speaker and a coach for most of my adult life, I always say this to my own clients. No one gives a crap how much time they spend with me. They don't care.
Yeah.
So when I'm in a sales conversation, I do my very best to not even mention how many sessions they get from me, or how much time we spend together, or the frequency of our sessions, or how long I'll be on stage. Because I know if I have to go there in my conversation, I know I'm leading the conversation in the wrong direction because I'm not speaking desired outcome. And I've been good at this for years. I've had people sign up to coaching where they've gone, yes, please, boom, handshake or hug. I'm so excited. And then they go, oh, by the way, JB, before you go, how many sessions is included in the coaching? Or they say, oh, by the way, how long will you be speaking for? And then I'm like, I go home and I'm celebrating what I've done because I've realized I've been so good at the relationship part and them getting to know me, like me, trust me, that they've bought from me, even knowing what they're buying.
No.
Right? When you go into a car dealership and you're so in love with the car or the people there, sometimes you buy a car, you don't even know what it comes with. You don't even care. Yeah. Oh no, but you know it comes with this, right? Oh wow, I didn't know that. Right? Because that salesperson they made you so in love with that process of being bought or being sold to that they didn't have to tell you the detail or the process or the method or the inclusions, because they're speaking to the result, how great you're going to feel in that car. So in coaching, it's how great you're going to feel with certainty, how great you're going to feel with an abundance of energy, how amazing you're going to feel with newfound obsession and passion for your life, making you the CEO of your life. Certainty, energy, obsession. So I'm always, I'm known as, at least in the UK, I'm known as the CEO coach because I give people certainty, energy, and obsession.
I like that.
So, but nowhere in that does it say how long my programs are or how much time they spend with me. No one cares. If you're a personal trainer, no one cares. You can flatter yourself, you can flatter your ego, No one cares how much time they spend with you. They just want to know, because I like you and I know you and I think I trust you, will you get me the desired outcome that I want?
Mm.
And I'll tell you now, when it comes to actual selling and knowing your rates and what to charge, people say to me, JP, how do you charge the amount of money that you charge for only 3 months? And my short answer is, if I'm going to charge $10,000, if I'm going to pay $10,000 myself to get a result, I'd much rather have that result come to me in 3 months than 1 year.
Yeah. Yeah.
People
I like that.
People, if you speak to the result, you shouldn't be selling more time. It doesn't make any sense. If you want to lose, I'm trying to think pounds now, you're morbidly obese, or you're in dire straits when it comes to your health, and you want to lose 40 pounds or 50 pounds, how quickly do you want that? In a year or 5 years? So if I'm selling you a program that's $20,000 and it's 5 years of coaching, why would I choose that when I can get the same result in 12 months or 6 months, whatever? So if you speak to the result and you promise the result and people trust you based on your word, your trust, your heart, your communication, your credibility, your testimonials, they don't care how long it's going to take. If anything, what they care is, can you get it? What they care about is, can you get it to me as quickly as possible?
Yeah. Love that.
So you've really got a question. Someone that charges £10,000 for something over 12 months and someone that charges $10,000 for 1 month, which one is more expensive?
It's a good point. It's a very good point.
You got to ask, how much is the result worth to you? We don't buy something because we believe it's worth that. We buy something because we believe that what we are buying is worth more than what we're paying.
Right.
That's why we buy something. If you go, oh no, I'm buying this for $10,000, but it's worth $10,000. I'll wait till they have an offer on. I'll wait till they have a sale, or I'll go find someone else. Or can you do me a bit of a discount? But if I want a certain result in my life, it's more expensive to me to wait 12 months than it is for me to pay a certain amount and get that desired outcome in a month or 2 months, whatever. I'll finish on that. I'm talking too much.
No, not at all, man. This is good stuff. I mean, it's similar to a metaphor I use when we're working with clients and we're doing products and similar packaging some of the features versus the benefits. And that question will come up. If it costs more, it should take longer. And we'll say, well, not really. And we'll use the example of a dentist. If you go to the dentist, they pull a wisdom tooth, they charge you $1,000 and it took them 2 minutes to do it. You don't go to them and say, hey, you just charged me $1,000 for 2 minutes. I mean, the dentist could come back and say, do you want it to take longer? Probably not. You want that pain gone as quick as possible. And so you're not paying the $1,000 for the 2 minutes of teeth pulling. You're paying the $1,000 to relieve that pain so that you can go pain free, throughout your days. Right. And I love that metaphor you gave because it fits perfectly within that same type of principle or that same type of metaphor. So I love that. Think about that. I want several of our clients are on this call as well, and they're also packaging their services. It's not always necessarily about the features, but what are the benefits? What are the benefits and not necessarily the timeline. Just because you have a $10,000 program doesn't mean it needs to take a year. Now make sure you're giving way more value than what you're charging those individuals. But it's time to shift our mindset around so many things that society is just really kind of programmed, or some of the things that we've seen everyone else doing, because more than likely, if everyone else is doing it, we probably should do almost the exact opposite is something that I've learned in business. So that's awesome sauce, man.
You're so welcome. It's been great chatting to you. If I can share one more very quick thing, and Marcus, you've heard me talk about this before.
Please.
Selling or serving is a fair value exchange. That's all it is. Everything in the world is on fair value exchange. If you don't have enough value to give, you don't get what you want back. It's that simple. So if you're not selling, it's because the value exchange is not fair. And that could be down to the value of your product or the value that you put on yourself. It could be down to the value and the belief that you put on yourself. And therefore, you are not valuable in that exchange, or you don't make yourself valuable. We all know people that sell rubbish, but their value in themselves is so high that they make a lot of money because it's a fair value exchange. What they're selling is they're selling certainty. What I sell as a coach is I sell certainty. Luckily for me, I've had a career of almost 20 years in selling certainty because I have a track record and I have stuff to back up my certainty selling. But to come back to what I said, selling or serving is always a fair value exchange. So here's a great exercise for everyone here, and I'll close on this. It's asking yourself a question. Would I buy what I'm selling? Now, and this is not, don't give me a fluffy answer like you're answering in some seminar. Yeah. Think about it really carefully. Because if you wouldn't buy it, if you wouldn't be willing to fork out your own money right now, and you're spending most of your time in this thing, other people, of course, aren't going to buy it. So what I would say when it comes to, let's position that differently. One, would you buy your own product or service, or would you buy your own time? If not, what do you need to change about what you're doing or how you're presenting yourself? So let's do this in a different way. What I would do and what I would recommend is you write down on a piece of paper exactly what you're selling. Now, if it's a product, write down all the mod cons, all the advantages, all the bonuses, and put down not what you can be perceived as in the marketplace. Write down what you truly believe in your heart, what that is worth. If you're selling a service or a product, or even if you're selling your time, let's say you're a coach, a therapist, a personal trainer, a lawyer, whatever, and you say, this is what I have to offer. Now you've got to write down, let's just say, just for conversation's sake, otherwise this is going to get too long. Let's say you're selling your time per hour. Remember, you can use this in any model of business, but you're selling your time per hour. But I don't know what to charge. Or I'm charging this amount, but I feel very uncomfortable in selling myself. It's because you don't believe that what you're selling is the value that you're saying it is. So write this down. How much you want to charge per hour has to be the equivalent of the worth of everything that you've become in your life. So for example, the first time I ever did this exercise, I was a personal trainer. So I was like, well, I don't know how much to charge for personal training. I'm already one of the top personal trainers, but where do I know, like, what's the next step for me? And I was like, do I look at other personal trainers? And I was like, no, you know what? Rather than looking there, I want to go there. So I started to write down everything, every single experience I'd ever had in my life that I'd learned a lesson from. Every book that I'd ever read, or the amount of books that I read, not every book that I'd read. Every course I'd been to, every seminar, every workshop, every program, every webinar, every teleseminar, every online training, every mentoring, coaching, advisory session that I'd have with someone that was of higher information, education, inspiration, motivation. Every sporting event that I'd ever done that I can use as credibility. Every adventurous experience that I can share in storytelling in what I'm doing. Do you see what I'm getting at? I wrote down every single thing that made me a person of value, a person of interest. And then I wrote down everything, and I said, if I could spend 1 hour with this person, how much would it be worth to me? And honest to God, that's what I priced myself at. I think at the time it was like I think I was like 400 pounds or $600 or something. I was like, okay, I was still very modest. I'd done all these things, but I was still very modest and humble. And I was like, I would spend 400 pounds an hour to sit down with that person. So if I would pay 400 pounds or dollars, let's say $500, if I know my value, I've written it out in front of me, and I would pay to spend time with me, and I would pay that amount, this is very important, that anything that you charge less than what you believe makes you feel worth less.
Ooh.
Because you're saying, this is what I'm worth based on my value that I have to give the world, based on everything that I've become. If you charge $1 less than that, you are programming your subconscious to believe that you are worth less than what you truly know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Say that one more time, because that's a huge nugget.
So if you work out exactly what you're worth based on everything you've done in your life, every little thing, if you can work out a value of how much you would pay to spend time with that person, having gone through all that experience, all that, learned all that, studied all that, accomplished all that, when you choose that amount, if you go out into the world and you charge less than what you believe you're worth, you are programming yourself to believe that you are worth less.
Wow.
So be non-negotiable. Look, not a lot of people, or not everyone agrees with me on this. But Marcus, I would rather go broke than charge less than what I'm worth.
Absolutely.
I am non-negotiable about that.
I love that.
Our subconscious, what's under the water, under the surface, whatever we've been putting into our subconscious over time, it's looking to prove us right wherever we're going.
Right.
So if you start charging less and you drop your fees and your prices, and over time, your subconscious is now, I'm worth less. I'm worth less. And now what it's doing every day of your waking life, it's looking for reasons to prove you right.
Oh, wow.
So remember this, that selling and serving is beautiful as long as you're doing it in your way. I do it my way. You've got to do it your way. Secondly, speak to people's values. Speak to your own values and speak to other people's values. Otherwise, you trying to sell without knowing someone and without knowing yourself, it's like trying to sell fish to a vegan. It doesn't make any sense. It's completely different languages.
Yeah.
Relationships over transactions. Treat the wholesale conversation as a relationship, and only the signing of the dotted line as the transaction. Yeah. And no one gives a damn about how much time they spend with you. So always sell and speak to the result.
Man, JP, you have dropped some serious bombs, serious mindset shifts, some serious nuggets, man. This has been insanely valuable, man. I'm just kind of in awe. Like I know I do this session for all of our audience and everyone, and for all of our speakers' audiences, so everyone kind of comes together. But I really got to take some notes on this session as well. I'm like, I got to do that. This has been truly just pivotal for me, especially how I continue to evolve my own conversations around sales, being in sales and marketing, owning a sales and marketing business. So this has been amazing. Everyone, I hope you have gotten value. I don't even have to hope. I know you've gotten value out of this session as well. And we have a lot more sessions coming up. But one thing I want to do while he's still on the line is I want to this is a deeper conversation. And as you can see, we probably have a lot more we need to get into with JP. Am I right? So I'm going to ask him live on the air if we can twist his arm for another session sometime on a future summit.
I didn't quite get the question there. I was going, I knew something was coming there. Are you asking for another session?
I'm asking if we can get you on another session, man. I think there's a lot more to unpack here, and I think there could be a lot more value you can share with everyone. So no pressure, but pressure.
I'll just say this. Relationships over transactions.
Oh, man. See, we had an amazing conversation about, in fact, that's one of the conversations we had before we actually jumped on this interview was about relationships over transactions. And at our digital marketing agency, we talk about how we're not a digital marketing agency. We're really a connection business, and digital marketing is just what we use to build stronger, more authentic connections between people. So when he says relationships over transactions, I already know we're going to have him back. That's what's up. That's our word. That's what's up. So thank you, JP. This has been amazing. Everyone, the information for your next session is in your box. JP, I'm still just in awe of the mindset shifts and the breakthroughs that I've just had on this session with you right now. I know our audience has had the same as well. Any final things you want to leave everyone with?
No, just I'm happy to have met you, man. I always love making new connections, building new relationships. That's the most important thing in life. And I'm sure there's more to learn from me. I have a lot to learn from you. I love tuning into one of your sessions last year and learning purely about strategy. And it was interesting for me, which is where this relationship started. I tuned into an environment where you were selling in your way, and I really enjoyed it. You know, I thought, I'm getting to know this guy and I like him. And thank you for that. Thank you for sharing me with the audience. Thank you everyone for listening. I love you, brother. I appreciate you. I can't wait for us to do more work together in the future. And that's it. If anyone needs any questions, you can just type my name into Google or Instagram or Facebook, and I'd more than happily, 90% of the time, get back to all messages. I do my very best.
I love it. We'll make sure everyone gets your information as well. And so everyone, thank you again for attending this session. Information on how to attend the next session is in your email box. So access it the same way you did this session as well. Continue to send us your questions. Send us your questions live. I'm going to see if we can even get JP on a live Q&A as part of this summit. So we'll see if that's a possibility. I think we did talk about that already. So JP's down for that. So bring your questions. If you can't attend that live Q&A, type them in below this video so that we can ask them live and still you'll be able to hear your answer later whenever you're able to watch that replay. So everyone, thank you again so much. We look forward to continuing to serve you, and we'll see you in the very next session.
Peace and love. Cheers.